Hey everyone, today we are going to be talking about which lawful organization you, the community, would like to be a part of if you were in Thedas. For this poll, we compiled over 3,000 votes. Without further ado, let's get into the results.
So in 7th place, we do have the Qunari Anthem with 3.43% of the votes, which accounts to 103. It's quite low compared to the other choices we have in this poll, but I think it's due to very obvious reasons.
Yeah, they're
Not
definitely one of the most restrictive options when it comes to all the other lawful organizations we have. Basically, you don't have a lot of free will if you're in this category.
Plus the fact that we don't know much about it, which maybe I'm pretty sure in the next game we're gonna know more. But for now, pretty much 90% of what we know is not really a positive. It's not appealing for anyone to join. I would say you have barely any free will.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you start to question the Qun, you end up in re-education, which doesn't sound like a good time.
Yeah, no, I think that's the reason why the Anthem finished in 7th place. But I've seen some people talk a bit positively about it. They said, but didn't really see much of a detailed explanation. It's mostly because Qunari are cool, or yeah, they look badass, but that's about it. Didn't really give much explanation about why they would pick it. But so that's our number 7, and now we can move on to our number 6.
In 6th place, we have the Orlesian Chevaliers with 6.9% of the vote, which equates to 206 votes. I actually was a little bit surprised that they were so low on the list. I thought that more people would have chose that, but on the other hand, they're pretty restrictive.
Yeah, well,
only nobles are allowed to join.
And compared to the other choices, they do have a bit of competition in this poll.
They do, but I think some of the other stuff that they have horrible initiation practices, and I didn't think many people knew about them. But if you've read the books, there's some terrible things that they do, and they don't give a crap about the little people.
Don't they do something to city elves? I guess
they do. They go out and they kill them. And I mean, they rape the women, so
that's an initiation.
Not a good time.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I mean, military-wise, they're pretty good. They're pretty efficient. Not gonna lie, the Orlesian military machine is strong.
Oh, definitely skilled warriors. But when it comes to everything else,
Yeah, they're pretty terrible. I mean, they look fabulous. I'm not gonna lie. They have quite a big potential, but it's like I said, it's quite restrictive, especially that you need to be a noble to just get access there. It's not for everyone to. Well, let's keep this side, like the nobility aspect aside. I don't know about the Chevaliers. While they look cool, they are pretty efficient. They're not really what you would call home if you join them. It's you don't get that sense of.
No, you're a military machine, basically.
Yeah, that's all there is. And they don't have, as far as what we saw in the games or in the novels, they're not really
they're
good.
Elitists.
Yeah, they're not good guys, to be honest.
No.
They're not bad guys either, but they're not really anything you would aspire to become. If you have like a moral high ground, they're not.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
All right, so that's for number 6. We can move on now to number 5. So at number 5, we do have the Chantry with 210 votes, which is 7% of the total votes. Big surprise for me, I'm not gonna lie about this one. I thought they would be much higher than that.
I think people are a little bit turned off on the religious aspect of the Chantry itself.
It's not only just religious, it's quite... it can get fanatical at some points. I mean, if it was religious, if it did just take the charity side of religion... which does exist in the Chantry, actually. There's a lot of charity going on, but I would see people being more friendly.
I think it's the controlling part, though. They're using religion to control the people, right? Yes. And so they're using that to bring exalted marches and constantly F up history.
At any occasion, actually. So, yeah, the Dwarves did the Chantry and the Deep Road. I mean, or somewhere. Let's just start a exalted march on them.
Pretty much.
Well, it didn't happen, thankfully. But I can see why people wouldn't like the Chantry. I mean, when we said Chantry, it includes the Circle, the Templars, the Seekers, and I'm pretty sure a bunch of other groups. But these are the most well-known ones. I think Seekers are recently out of the Chantry. They're not really part of the Chantry. Maybe after the event of InQUIZition, but in InQUIZition, they're not part of the Chantry.
I think if we had split them out, it might have been a little bit different, but with just the Templar and the Mage conflict, and them just blowing shit up all the time, I think that was a little bit of a deterrent because, I mean, they were clumped in as one, as the Chantry as a whole.
Yes, and I mean, I know people blame Templars and the Circles for a lot of things, but when you think about them and you try to see in details who is to blame, it's always the Chantry.
It's the head. It's the person leading.
It's always the Chantry. It's always. I mean, the Templars, I'm pretty sure that not all of them are abusive. The Mages, not all of them are crazy and go blood magic and demon summoning and all that. But I'm pretty sure that this happens because of, it's desperation. And when somebody gets desperate, they do stupid things. And sometimes the only way to deal with stupid things is extreme measures. Yeah. So that's why the Templars sometimes are coerced into being very abusive towards the others and using a lot of force. I mean, at the same times, you can't blame the Mages because of the conditions they live in.
That, I think, is a conversation for another video. We're gonna have to go into that.
Exactly. So that's just the general view why things are bad with the Chantry recently. Plus, you have the whole thing with Chantry basically having no leadership in InQUIZition. Well, you get to pick the leadership, but still, even after InQUIZition, maybe I hope so that it becomes better. But as far as I can tell, the Chantry is pretty much one of the biggest.
It's shambles. It's working on itself, but
yeah, it's one of the biggest sources of problems in Thedas, basically in the southern side at least. So I can understand why it did end on 5th place and nothing higher. We can move on to number 4, shall we?
In 4th place, we have the Dwarven groups, so the Legion and the Silent Sisters, with 8.8% of the votes, which was 265 people.
Just slightly higher than the Chantry. Well, not that higher, but
a few. Enough,
enough to qualify to 4th place. Actually, this one is a big surprise for me. I thought they would be lower. I never thought they would manage to surpass the Chantry. That's what I mean.
Yeah, and especially like dwarves seem to, on our first poll, they were the lowest ranking. But yeah, you know what? The Silent Sisters, maybe, I'm not sure how I would feel about cutting my tongue out though. And never speaking again.
You say that. I mean, they don't allow guys to join, so I have no business with this one.
Yeah. But they're a military group. They support Orzammar, kind of like the Chevaliers do to Orlais.
Yeah. They're like an elite military force, basically.
Yeah.
We don't know much about them, to be honest, yet.
No. I mean, we do have Utha in Awakenings. She's a Silent Sister who then ends up with the Architect, but
I don't know what's her name, the InQUIZition agent in multiplayer. She's a Silent Sister too. She doesn't have, she doesn't have dialogue because she can't speak. But the other group, which is the Legion of the Dead, is much more. It's well known. It's basically like the Wardens without having detained.
Yes. So I mean, there's no leaving the Legion, and yes, you're gonna die, but at least you don't become a ghoul.
No, it'll be. And I mean, I can see the point, but still, I think it's one of the. Do they accept humans or elves?
There's one.
Okay, so they did. There's a case of.
Yeah, and I believe it was one of Cassandra's relatives, a Pentagast.
Okay, so they can accept other races in their ranks, but still, it's
rarely. It's pretty inclusive or exclusive. Sorry, to other
exclusive dwarves. Well, mostly criminals.
And that too. I guess it's a way to redeem yourself.
It's a way to redeem yourself by basically dying in the deep roads.
Yeah.
Quite a common theme in Thedas. All right, so now we can move on to number 3. All right, so at number 3 we do have the Tevinter Magisterium at 409 votes, which is 13.6% of total votes. Actually, I would say that this is one of those quite surprising. It was surprising that this one ended up on number 3.
Yeah, I thought it would be lower.
I thought people hated Magisters in general, but no, as it seems, they didn't really.
I think people are attracted to it's prestigious, it's powerful, it's an elite class.
A lot of people mentioned that it's probably the one with the biggest potential if you join them.
Mm-hmm.
The others,
and it's a political position too. You have potential to grow and potentially,
when
run
you can
to
hear
Victor.
Dorian, actually, when you talk to Dorian about the Magisterium, he tells you that it's not easy to be a Magister. He said families in Tevinger kill for that, for the chance to become a Magister.
Yeah, that seems like kind of a negative side to it, for me. And along with that, you're going to have that slavery and sacrificing, and not all of them do it. We all know some of them do it.
Yeah, some of them do, and if some of them do, for people in south of Thedas, they will think that everyone does that.
Right.
But for me, I think it's quite a. This position does have a big potential. I mean, it's at least the others, you're always under control of someone and you're doing somebody's orders, and at least in the Magisterium you only have the Archon on top of you, so
you have some room to grow for sure.
Yeah, it's not a bad post.
Yeah, I'm interested to see for Dragon Age 4 where this is going to go, because I'm sure they're going to have a way bigger role, so that's going to be really cool.
Exactly. Shall we move on to number 2?
Sounds good. In second place, we have the Grey Wardens with 24.7% of the vote. So that's 742 votes they got.
Quite a big leap away from the Tevinter Magisters. Like, the vote just took off.
Totally. This one, I'm not crazy surprised about this one.
Surprised.
I was kind of figured it was going to be between the Grey Wardens and the Inquisition.
Our number one, yeah. So, exactly. It's I think it's mainly due to Dragon Age Origins, because people are very attached to their first protagonist.
Yeah, definitely to the Wardens, and you get a whole different story if you play Origins. And I know a lot of people have played Origins. They've started with the Inquisition, and so you see kind of a bad side of the Grey Wardens versus, in the first game you're an unlikely hero saving the world, right?
Exactly. It's but I can see why people would join the Grey Wardens. It's probably the most selfless organization in Thedas, basically.
Mm-hmm.
They're, trying to save the world, even if it means your death. It's not something anybody would do. You can add to that, they look pretty cool.
Yeah, and you know what? They're inclusive. They literally accept everybody. Everyone. You can't be choosy when half the people die in the joining, so...
Exactly, and yeah, anyone can join. The only thing that I didn't really like much is the whole... You're just living on a borrowed time, basically. Mm-hmm. It's any time you can hear the call in.
Yeah. Early death, which, you turn into a ghoul. You've got nightmares. You're infertile. Nightmares. You're living solely to save humanity, basically, from,
So you probably, I think it would suck if there was a long time without a blight. So you're basically just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
But I saw a lot of people praising the Wardens in the comments on Reddit or on Facebook, saying a lot of them actually did talk about the aesthetic.
Yeah, their armor. It looks badass.
The armor looks really good. It's the uniform, at least from Dragon Age 2 on, we got the uniform which made the Wardens even more special. Mm-hmm. So you can tell who is a Warden and who is not.
The other thing that I'm super excited for, and I hope we see, is the Griffins. So excited. That'll be so cool.
That's definitely gonna happen.
Yeah.
For those, no spoilers, but you probably should read the last flight if you want to have an idea about what we're talking about. So
exactly,
give it a read. You won't regret that. It's a good read.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's takes care of our number 2. Let's go for our winner of this poll, number 1. So our winner for this poll is obviously the Inquisition. by 1,069 votes, which is 35.6%. Quite a big number, but at least this time it's not a way too. There's not a huge difference between number 1 and 2. It's kind of close. It's not like our first poll when basically for number 1 was like at 40% of the votes.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Talking about the Inquisition, I can see why people would vote it for number 1 because it's probably the easiest one to join.
Yeah, it's super inclusive. You could be anything. You could be a cook. You could be a teacher, a mage, a Templar. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. As long as you can help in any way, you're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you're fighting a noble cause, right? You're trying to restore order, save the world.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how you're the Inquisitor. I mean, it doesn't matter if the Inquisitor is good or evil, but at the end of the day, they did what they were supposed to do.
You're still working to restore order, regardless of how you chose to go about
regardless of circumstances. Yeah, exactly. But I can see exactly why it ended up on number 1. I would say for me, I would have voted Inquisition before Trespasser. After Trespasser, probably not.
See, and for me, I looked at this, and not just the recent Inquisition, but the Inquisition of old.
And I think you're the only one who did think that way.
But I love Jaws of Hakon and speaking with a Meriden and like what the actual purpose of the Inquisition originally was.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, the big purpose is the same, but how it's changed is. I mean, it's all about restoring order and stuff and control. But yeah, I can see why people would still pick the Inquisition. Like I said, you join the Wardens, you're gonna need to have some fighting skills to join. You join the Legion of the Dead, you're gonna have to fight. You join the Chevaliers, it's a military force. The Magisterium, you need to be a mage of some really high quality, of some old magical family.
Oh, totally. That's a political thing, right? It's very, very limited. But same with the Orlesian Chevaliers.
Yeah, the Inquisition, it doesn't matter who you are.
You can be anybody.
Yeah. I mean, as in Inquisition, we saw misfits joining everywhere.
Oh, exactly. That's what the Inquisition was made up of, right?
Smugglers, soldiers, spies.
You actually felt like you had the ability to do something, right?
And I think that's why it is successful. That's why the Inquisition was so successful, because it played on all sides. It didn't have... It wasn't restricting itself. It wasn't picky on no, you can join, or no, you can't join. Everyone was welcome. Maybe to its detriment in Trespasser, because we noticed that in Trespasser, the Inquisition was played from within.
Yeah, you had a few spies there.
But like I said, Inquisition, still no surprises that it would take number 1.
I mean, the only other thing, like I said previously with the Wardens, is that, people who never played Origins, I think, are automatically going to go with Inquisition for this over Warden.
In Dragon Age Origins, you were a Warden, or maybe Warden Commander in Awakening, but that was the full extent of your powers. In Inquisition, you are the Inquisitor. You lead that.
Yeah, you're leading the whole continent.
Technically, technically like a monarch in there.
Yeah,
you have the same power as any emperor or any king in all of Thedas.
Yeah, you took the place of the divine, basically. There's no divine. You're running the show, and then you basically say, okay, I want this person on the throne.
Yeah, I want this one to be divine.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of power, a lot of potential.
Yeah, although before we finish, what did you pick? Who did you vote for?
I voted for, actually, the Inquisition and the Grey Wardens. Inquisition, like I mentioned, it was inclusive. You had a lot of power. You had the ability to kind of shape the future. And then with the Grey Wardens, I've always had a soft spot. There's this noble cause and you're saving humanity over and over. You're never, it's not about you. It's about the greater cause. So,
a funny thing, I don't remember exactly what I voted for. I remember I voted for the Magisterium because, like I said, it's...
Surprise.
It's the one that has the biggest potential.
Yeah.
If you're pragmatic, that's the one when you can achieve the most power. Inquisition, it doesn't guarantee you'll be the Inquisitor. You can just be, the doorman. It doesn't matter. Yeah. But still, I think I also voted Inquisition because of how easy it is to access Inquisition. I also voted Chantry, but just because I like the Templars, and I tend to see them getting quite a bad rep. I mean, yeah, a lot of them are abusers, but I think most of them really want to do their job, but being under the heel of some corrupt Chantry officials is what causes them to be in a dark shade.
That's where they're fighting the system all the time. The good ones are always fighting the bad. That's the problem.
Yes, and I know mages. That's the thing, because when you go around any Facebook or Reddit Dragon Age fandom, it's always more people sympathize with the mages than they do with the Templars, which is understandable. But I can still see the problem with the Templars, and I tend to sympathize with them more. But that's a story, like you said earlier, for another time. So. Anyway, well, thank you for watching, and I hope you liked the video. So, like I said, see you next week for a new poll, and yeah, I'm pretty sure you're gonna like the idea. Anyway,
stay tuned. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
So, just before we finish, we would like to thank everyone who did take part, everyone from Facebook, from Dragon Age Universe, Dragon Age GFC, Dragon Age 3 Inquisition, and Dragon Age Game of Thedas, as well as the Dragon Age subreddit. You guys are awesome. Keep up the good work, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.